Hey buddies, it is Saturday and we're about to do a 4-play Friday today at 3 o'clock Pacific time, but I'm really here to tell you about Kuni, I don't know which one anymore. I forget which one was the wrong one and which one was the one I was trying to troll you with, so I'll say both. We played it a couple days ago, and my first impressions video isn't really needed because it was quite clear on the playthrough what I thought of the game. I frickin' loved it. It is by Studio Ghibli, so immediately you're going to be taken by the style of the game. The cell shading is just beautiful and pulls off his style oh so well. Not unlike, the games before it, like Wind Waker and I guess the Simpsons game, Road Rage. I think that was cell shaded. Things like other cell shading games. I remember the Dreamcast game that we just played with the roller skating, Jet Set Radio, stuff like that. But this one, I would say, as far as cell shading jobs go, was probably really difficult because, yes, Studio Ghibli's style has always been sort of a cartoony and would lend itself to cell shading, but it does have intricacies that other styles don't have, and it wasn't designed specifically for cell shading. So I feel like they had a real challenge on them to make this still true to the Miyazaki, I think, vision, and bring it across in a video game way that felt authentic. And they did, as far as I go. I'm not like the biggest Ghibli fan. I've seen Howl's Moving Castle and I loved it. I've seen Princess Mononoke and a couple others that I can't remember exactly. But I love, like, his style is just so, it's beautiful and friendly and warm, but at the same time, it's got these elements of sort of sinister and terrifying to them. And he has a very distinct sort of theme with all of his movies where it's a beautiful sort of Disney-esque world, but then it's got these elements of, oh my God, to it, and just Princess Mononoke especially, but all of them, like they have some you just watch them. And I'm going to be watching more myself after having played this game because it really gave me the Ghibli itch, I would say. I've heard, after we played the game and we saw a bunch of little cat people in this one city. It's the first city you come to, and there's cat people that live there, as well as humans and birds, bird people. And I've heard that there's a Ghibli movie in which there's an entire kingdom of cats. So you guys told me about that. I'll have to go check it out. As far as the game goes, there's not much to say. It's beautiful. It is refreshing to see some fresh. It's refreshing to see life breathed into the JRPG genre. A genre that, although you will see me rant and rave about it often on the show, I grew up loving it. I grew up with Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, and Final Fantasy III. Final Fantasy III, as it was released here in America. I'm the type that embraces the marketing given to us on the West, in the North Americas. If it was released here as 3, then it will always be Final Fantasy III, as well as Earthbound will always be Earthbound to me, not Mother 2. I'm sorry, I know it's Mother 2, but it's Earthbound. That's what I grew up with. Anyways, so JRPGs to me, I loved Final Fantasy VII, but that was like one of the very few of the last while that I've enjoyed JRPGs. I just feel as though the characters have always been very cliche, rehashed over and over, very melodramatic, and sort of angsty teens, sometimes not teens, but just aloof, forlorn type characters that I just don't relate to, and I don't think a lot of people in the West relate to. Do the people in Japan really relate to these types of characters? I'm not speaking for every JRPG. I haven't kept up with every single one because I'll be honest, I've been a bit dejected about them, so I've kind of steered clear. But I tried out Persona. That's another rant for another day, but it just didn't appeal to me either. I feel like all the characters seem like they're out of a Twilight film. They're all just very yeah, oh, yeah, I'm just, yeah, I guess. sort of stuff, and I don't like it. So the cheerful optimism of Ni no Kuni is really appealing to me because of that, and it reminds me of sort of the way Earthbound was unorthodox in its setting, because this thing starts out set in like what looks like 1950s America kind of, and then it obviously, if you've seen any media for it, it ends up in a fantasy setting. But from what I can tell, we didn't get quite to that point. You're going to be going back and forth between those two settings as you play, that's really original concept. The only thing I found not quite so original about it, and I don't know if it was like, jumping on the Harry Potter bandwagon or not, but the protagonist's main story, his life story, is very similar to Harry Potter's just at the get up and go. And I'm not going to go into it in too much detail here, because if you didn't watch that, if you've really been avoiding spoilers, well, you probably wouldn't be watching this. Okay, I'm going to tell you. The fact that Harry Potter lost his parents, this little guy loses his mom at the beginning. Then he's told that he's the chosen one by somebody from another world. I don't know if it was another world in Harry Potter, if it's the same world just from a different place in the same world. I don't care. It has striking similarities. It's kind of it starts in that sort. I don't know about in Harry Potter, but isn't it like kind of 1950s-ish? Isn't that where he doesn't come from modern times, does he? I don't know. I don't give a shit. I'll stop putting my foot in my mouth then. I just thought that they were a little bit similar. Not a big deal, though. The characters are adorable. The enemies are adorable. Your sidekick is adorable. Maybe at times a little bit too sugary. I was saying during the playthrough that I felt like I was going to get a toothache from playing this, just because I'm seeing all the cheerfulness. I acknowledge it. I am waiting for that Ghibli stick it to you moment where it gets all kind of terrifying and cynical, because I need that balance. I'm a cynical guy, and I can't take all that cheerfulness for too long. Other things, I don't know what else there is to say. Oh, my other nitpick. Remember, when I nitpick, it's because I love a game. It's not because I see the places for improvement that I would like to see. I thought that the music was a little distracting at the beginning. It's beautiful. It's by the Tokyo Philharmonic, but it sometimes didn't fit the setting. It just felt like it was kind of thrown in there, like blasted because they had it or they didn't know what else to put in that moment. It sometimes gets dramatic when it shouldn't be getting dramatic, and sometimes feels like battle music when you're just exploring a quiet area. I would have liked to see what I'm a big fan of in games is layered music, where the music dynamically gets more energetic based on the situation because it has layers that are applied. So like there might just be like a calm layer, and then if it starts to get more exciting, the developer has a trigger that puts in the more exciting layer, and it goes over top of the calm layer, so they don't need to like create different songs. It just kind of starts lapping itself over top, and as it dies down, as the action dies down, it just removes some layers. And it feels very natural progression between the two. I can't think of an example right off the top. I know that Uncharted did it, but lots of games do it nowadays. And I felt it missing from this, but that's just a nitpick. The dialogue at the beginning, and this is kind of typical of a lot of JRPGs, felt kind of very slow, really driving home the tutorials before I got into any real action. I also would have liked to spread out a little bit of, kind of like on our Mass Effect playthrough that we just did, spread out a bit of the talking to people. I know that I didn't have to go into town and immediately talk to everybody. That's how I am. I'm OCD. I have to do things in order. So I would have liked it if there was more excuse for battles in between exploring the town. But instead I had to explore that entire town in one shebang, and it took up like pretty much the entire episode after we had our initial encounter with the tree. You're a wizard in it. You got magic spells. You've also got a familiar who fights for you. You can customize yourself. You can customize his equipment, his abilities. You can feed him things to increase his attributes. Your attributes seem to be automatically added as you level up, which is a relief. You guys know me. I don't like to get into that, especially on the show. I'm not a big fan of getting into that intricate, strategic, inventory management I hate. Going through and tweaking every last little stat, I'm not a big fan of. I like to just get through the meat of the game, and I haven't really found if this is true or not, but I'm hoping that it gives you the choice. Like, you can get as intricate as you want, or you can just go through kind of with the defaults, or at least like maybe it'll have ways to auto equip and stuff. Maybe I won't mind on the show. I don't know. The thing is, I just like it when I have an option of getting as strategic as I want, or as not strategic as I want, and just go out and get into the action. I like that option. Not sure if it's there or not. I haven't played long enough to know if it's possible to just play kind of haphazard or not. I hope it is, because, I don't know. If it isn't, then I'll continue to play haphazard, and I'll just take it down to the easier difficulty so that I can keep on playing it on the show in my way. That's pretty much it about the game. It's going to be a long haul in the show. We're going to give you time to play it ahead, probably at least a month. So go ahead and buy the game and play it. You know you're going to love it. It's going to be a contender for Game of the Year. Right now I'm calling it. It's just something that comes along every so often. Everybody looks at it and they say, yep, that's something new and fresh, and that is a contender to be Game of the Year. I defy you to not agree with me on this. But there's many more games to come this year. I know it's very early, but I say it's going to be in the running at least. It should be something that's brought up as we talk about Game of the Year, at the very least. So see you there today, guys. It's a 4 Up Late Friday on Saturday. New Super Mario Bros. U. I love you. Goodbye.